Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide.
Happy Monday, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
This episode title, we were hotly debating before we got on. Allison wanted me to put a title that I can't even say. What was it?
Is it best practice to say best practice?
See, I can't do that. But it is a valid question. Should we be using the term best practice when we're talking about things like updating curriculum, approaching interactions differently than maybe we did in the past? We in this time period, in this era in early education, we have a lot of information about practices that help to enable us to teach children at a higher quality than perhaps we had in the past, right? And a lot of people call this best practice. It's best practice to do this. It's best practice to do that. I have been known to say best practice in the past, though I don't say it anymore. Because what I've come to realize is there is not just one best practice. So if I'm going to a school and I'm saying, it's best practice to talk to children this way, well, maybe someone else has another way that also would produce high quality results, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And we came across and researched, because that's what we do, some recommendations for other things that we could be saying other than this is best practice, or I'm going to follow best practice, because best indicates an absolute right answer.
Right. Or like a rating, like you're the best one.
Right.
Like you're better than that, or like the other people, like, because you do it the best.
So we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
We don't want to say this is best. We want other ways to communicate that we are aiming for really good early childhood experiences at home and at school.
Yeah.
Two that I use now most frequently, because I was looking at these recommendations and I said to Allison, I use these. The two I use most frequently are, I will say high quality practices, because there can be multiple high quality practices.
Yeah.
I also tend to say research-based practices when it is.
Yeah.
And hopefully it is. I say it a lot because I need people to understand that things that we have done for X number of years in early education may not have been based on research. They were just based on some sort of tradition or something. And not what we know based on research about the learning and development of young children. But again, today we have that research. So why are we not using it?
Yeah.
I think because of the sort of work that I do, especially working with college students and teaching professional development, that research-based phrase, these are research-based practices, lands with the people who I interact with.
I think it also takes any judgment away. It's like, no, this is the research and this is what it says. These are the and then within there might be a range of like how you could use that in practice. When you even say, I think high quality, which is kind of like another term for best, right? Because if say you're not doing a high quality practice, am I now a low quality person?
Yes.
Right. So
No.
So like, there's some sort of like, so that's why I like the whole research-based practices.
I do say it a lot.
Also, I feel like you said, for so long, I think it was like fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
And now it's like, there's so much research out there on early ed and birth through age 5 education that it kind of tells people like, no, this is important what I do. It is important. It is researched. It is research driven. I am doing practices that are based on research, and this is why I do what I do. Not because I'm like, I just felt like doing it that day and I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. No, there's research to back me up here.
Yeah. And it's part of professionalism to say, we use research-based ways to do things.
Yes.
So yes, you just have to make sure you're telling the truth. Like I would never say something is research-based if I didn't know that.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have to know where it came from.
Yeah.
And if it came from a resource like a curriculum, I have to know they did the research.
Well, 'cause
Like
they
they're,
might not.
they're
Yeah, no, you have to know.
people
Yeah.
can put anything on the internet
Yes.
and call it research based.
Yeah.
I want to see the citations to research. And when you open up some of the curriculums, they have information for teachers that is cited
Yes.
to resources.
Yes.
So that's research based. When you open up a curriculum and it's just like, hey, this is research based, and they can't give you
There's
the resources,
Yeah, there's no citations.
question that.
Make sure the citations are like actual academic journals or something.
Yeah.
Not just like your random guy on the internet. You know?
Because your random guy on the internet can say research based.
Yes.
When it's not.
When it's not.
Or it's based on old research. I've seen that as well. I pointed out to somebody, someone on LinkedIn was talking about research done about something. And I looked up, I wanted to see what was the resource, because it was different than I had learned.
Yeah.
So when I looked at the resource, it was published, oh my gosh, like 1990 maybe.
Oh.
And I said, this is like more than 20 years old, this research. Yeah. So we need more current. Right. That's why many times when you write things, or when I have written things, the date of publication has to be within a certain number of years. Otherwise it's not valid. Yeah. But at any rate, I do say research-based practices when I know that they are research-based. Yeah. And high quality a lot, because I want people to understand this is what high quality can look like in your setting. Yeah. There were other phrases that we came across that I sort of liked. There's one that I didn't like as much. Yes, do you know which one? Is one. Okay.
It's that last one.
Yeah. We have a list in front of us. Okay. So another one that I really liked that I might start to use. One is recommended practices. Yeah. Then you have to be able to say who recommended it. That, I guess I do say that in some ways, because I will say to people, the National Association for the Education of Young Children, otherwise known as NACE, recommends that. Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about that one is people could be like, yeah, that's great that you recommended it. I'm not going to follow it. Be like, thanks for your recommendation. And then not do it. Because it makes it too like, I recommended this, like here's my advice. Take it if you want, but people might not think that's like, no, this is what you really should be doing.
Well, maybe what you need to do is say who it's recommended by.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah. This is recommended by.
I'm thinking of like toothpaste. You know, when toothpaste says like
by 9 out of 10 dentists.
Yes. So it's telling me it's recommended by dentists.
Yes.
Not your next door neighbor. Dentists.
Unless your neighbor is a dentist.
Then it's good.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think I say recommended practices, but I do say who it's recommended by. Yeah. This is recommended. I often say recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics.
Yes.
I'll say things like that.
Or the National Association for the Education of Young Children.
I say that. I say 0 to 3. I reference who has recommended it.
Yes.
So maybe I can say something like, this is a recommended practice from.
Yes.
And that then proves its legitimacy.
Right.
Okay. The other one I kind of liked, but again, I have to be able to show that it's true, is proven practices.
Oh, yeah.
The thing I question about the phrase proven practices is that someone who's just been doing the same thing for 30 years can say, well, these are my proven practices. Okay, maybe I don't like that one.
True. I think like, yeah, like even if you used it in your classroom last year and it worked, but you have a new group of kids now this year, and it's a new group of students.
It may not work.
It might not work. So you saying, yeah, but it was proven last year. I did it last year. I did it for the last 10 years and it always worked. This is still a new group of students and it might not work.
Here's a proven practice. I'm going to give you an example of a proven practice. Yeah. There are developmental screening tools that have been proven to identify children with potential developmental delays who we may not have noticed had them. Yeah. That is a proven practice. Yeah. Yeah. So administering developmental screenings in your early childhood setting is a proven practice. Yeah. It has proved over time to show that it identifies children with developmental delays.
That is a good example.
But just to say, I did this for 40 years, and so it's a proven practice is not enough. You need to have statistics.
Yeah. It needs to be over a long course of time, I would think too.
You have to have the research and
it can't just-
statistics.
Yeah, it can't just be you. I think it would have to be a practice that many teachers have done.
What I keep coming back
Yeah.
to is the ability to cite what you're saying.
Yeah.
The ability to say, here are my resources that I used when I made that recommendation, when I put together my professional development session.
Yeah.
You know, here are the resources. I didn't make stuff up.
Right, but I do think people are out there making some stuff up.
People are out there making some stuff
That's why
up,
you got to be really careful
but that's why
to
you
make
need,
sure it's cited properly.
and you have to
Right.
say to people, can you share your resources with me?
Yes.
Listen, I go through lots of different systems to get professional development sessions approved. And in most of those systems, I'm required to provide my resources. And
Yeah, we
Yeah.
podcast. We're like, if you
we do, they're right
so
there on our
the
website.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we feel like, okay, people need to see where we got this from,
Yeah.
it goes on our website,
Yeah.
howpreschoolteachersdoit.com. You're
Yeah,
right.
that
We
we're
do
not
prove
just
it.
making it up here, that it's research based and here's the research. We're not hiding it.
Yeah,
It's
we're
there.
not hiding what
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
The one that I didn't particularly care for, and I'm not fully sure why, but I looked at it and went, no, I'm not saying that. It was promising practices.
But I agree with you because to me, a promise isn't guaranteed. Like if I promise I'll come over tomorrow, Cindy.
But
then I
then
don't.
You don't. Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like it's not guaranteed. It's a promise, but I don't have to keep up with that. Like,
Well,
you know,
I think-
promises are broken all the time.
I think you can look at something that's not entirely proven yet, still based on research,
Yeah.
and say, okay, this is a promising practice, like teaching children XYZ or asking them this sort of question. It's promising. This could work. Over time, we could potentially prove that this is something good for
Okay.
children.
So you're saying
New, but still based on research.
still based on research, but doesn't necessarily hasn't been out there long enough to have any proven track record yet would be considered promising. You think?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, I just looked at it and went promising practices. I don't think that
Yeah. I don't know.
think that
one-
that shows me that this is what we really know would work. That would fall under the category of best practice.
It's
Because that's where we started, right? We
Yes.
started by saying these are best practices, but we don't like that because there's multiple ways to skin a cat, right?
true. Yes.
There are multiple
Yes.
ways to get children down that path.
Yes.
So what do we need to lean on then for both parenting and early
Yes.
education?
Yes.
We need to lean on high quality, research-based, recommended and proven information, not promising.
Well, I feel like there's too much wiggle room in that term. Like if you say this is proven, boom, I can give you that research right now. This is research based. Here you go. I can give you that research. But saying it's just promising is not
Yeah, I don't like it.
sturdy enough for me.
Me either.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
If you have been, especially if you're listening to this and you're an administrator of an early childhood program and you've been saying to your staff, we're going to do this because it's best practice. Or if you work in a system,
Yeah.
a quality rating system, for example, or a childcare resource referral agency who helps people to improve their
Yeah.
quality,
Yeah.
or anything where you are working with people like professional development sessions, and you've been saying this is best practice. I want to encourage you to stop saying that. Take
Yeah.
it out of your language, because they can learn something from somebody else that also is really great and would work. And start to say things like recommended, research-based, or proven. I think those are the best
Yeah.
among all the ones we looked
Yeah.
at. We picked out like these are the 5
These are
best,
the
and
5.
then I think we just eliminated one.
Yeah.
So-
No, I think they're top 3.
What do you think? What are the
I
top
think it
3?
should be high quality. No, I think there should be a top 2. I think it should be proven practices and research-based practices.
I'm also cool with recommended. If you say by
Are you?
who,
Okay,
yeah. If you say by what entity,
recommended by 9 out of 10 teachers.
by not, no, not even that.
No, see,
Recommended
that's
by,
why I don't like
no.
that one, because, you know.
9 out of 10 teachers could be putting up the behavior charts that we talked about in
that's
a
what I'm
recent
saying.
episode.
like if an educator came to me and say, hey, I
Well-
recommend that you put up a behavior chart, my answer is like, sorry, no.
No,
But it's recommended.
you're right. You're
No,
right.
I don't
You're
care.
right. Recommend, you're right. You're right.
I
You're
don't,
right.
I don't care that
I
you
think if you're going
recommended
to
it.
say recommended, it has to come from a really worthy source.
Yes.
And it can't be blog based. Unfortunately, as someone who has blogged,
Yes.
it has to be a scholarly academic work.
Yes.
Or an organization like NACI that we know does synthesize the research or
Right.
communicate the research in ways that we can use
Yes.
it. All right. So here's
There you
what we've
go.
come down to.
Okay.
All right. I think how much do we enjoy recording in the same room?
I love it.
Here's what I think that we're saying. If you've been saying best practice, or even teachers in a classroom saying to each
Yes,
other, I'm doing
yes.
this because it's best practice.
Yeah.
Start instead saying either this is a high quality practice or this is a research-based practice
Or proven practice.
or a proven practice. Maybe not even high quality. Maybe I'm wrong about
I
using that.
don't, well, yeah, only because I'm like, well, if I don't do that in my low quality,
All right.
that's why I eliminated.
All
I
right.
think it should be
I'm
proven
resetting. Here we go.
practices
Proven,
or research-based practices, because there's no wiggle room there.
proven or research-based.
That's like, this is what the research is, this is what the proven results are. Within that, follow this, but yeah, I think
Okay.
those are the two.
All right. So in my work, I'm going to challenge myself to realize when I say something else and to, in the future, say proven practices or research-based
Yeah.
practices. Let's see how that goes. If you're listening and you come to my professional development sessions, which I know is
You should
true for
have-
some of you, they're going to point it out.
$1 in a jar every time she says it.
They're going to point it out for sure, because I get people in
Yeah.
those sessions saying, love your podcast. So you all feel free,
Yes.
like if we're on Zoom, to go in the chat and say, you just said something other than proven or research-based. This should be fun for me.
That's gonna be a lot of
Oh
fun.
yeah, I'll let you know how that
Enjoy.
goes. All righty, folks, go enjoy your summer day,
Yes.
and we will catch you next time on the podcast. Bye, peeps.